Everyone, basically since the season ended for the Lakers, they have been in trade rumors. The Kyrie Irving trade, now we have Utah, the Knicks, the Pacers. You have all of these deals that are on the table, and the ultimate goal is just get rid of Westbrook and upgrade the team, right? The team isn't good enough as it stands, no pun intended, and we need to turn Westbrook into some viable assets. That's the goal. But the Lakers have been patient. They've just been waiting and biding their time, which I have been happy that they have done. I don't want them to pull the trigger on a trade that just ends up ruining future flexibility or is just out of a necessity to get rid of Westbrook. Like, they are being very smart by waiting to see what develops. Not just that, but something that I've talked about here on this channel is how all of the trades are based on other trades, right? The Utah and Knicks deal is based on Donovan Mitchell being traded. The Kyrie deal is based on Kevin Durant being traded. The only one that seems to kind of be on the table is the Indiana Pacers deal, but that deal isn't going anywhere, right? No one's knocking on the door for Buddy Hield and Miles Turner. Not because they don't have great players or that they are great players, but one, Buddy Hield's contract is not a very good contract. He's making $40 million over the next 2 years, and all he really provides is shooting. And look at what's happening with Duncan Robinson on that bad deal. And which team is looking at Buddy Hield going, man, that $40 million contract looks good, and Buddy Hield is that missing piece to take us to the championship, to make us a contender? Nobody really. The Lakers only want him because they're desperate and they need shooting. They need that lights out shooter, and their hope is that, okay, well, Buddy Hield could be that guy, and you're getting Miles Turner in the deal. Nobody's banging on the door for Miles Turner because Miles Turner is an expiring contract, and how many teams are looking at him as like, oh, he's the missing piece that's good enough for a year. You're not talking Kawhi Leonard where it's like, we'll take our chance renting him for a year. There's no guarantee Miles Turner will actually stay with your team, and he's not that good to where he's going to completely turn your season around or something like that. So that brings us to the point in today's video, which is a report came out by the Los Angeles Times that once Donovan Mitchell and Kevin Durant have been traded, Lakers will have a lot more options than they have currently. The report said the Pacers, Irving deal, and then the others that have been reported. So the Knicks, Jazz deal, Charlotte is another team. And many people are, curious as to what that is and what other deals could be out there that we haven't heard of or been reported. And the thing is that you got to think about, what does Westbrook offer these teams? Because it's not the player, it's the contract. So a team like Miami, that if they, let's say, go and trade for Donovan Mitchell and they're stuck with some bad contracts, maybe they make that deal to go move off of some of those bad contracts. Teams will value Westbrook as an asset for just, book wipe. It's clean books. Here you go. We can hit the reset button if we want. And so there's teams that would do that. There's other teams that have, maybe one or two bad contracts, or maybe not even bad contracts, but just like a Buddy Hield contract, 2 years, $40 million. They're a rebuilding team. Okay, well, we have the cap space to absorb Russell Westbrook, the remaining salary after we move this piece. A team like Utah, the Knicks, they both want to move off the salary. That's why they want Westbrook. Any team that takes Westbrook is very likely just going to buy him out. But everything is waiting on these two being that first domino. Kevin Durant is likely going to be the first domino because I think based on what happens with Kevin Durant and where Kevin Durant goes could open the floodgates for Donovan Mitchell. Because, say a team like, Miami, they can't trade Mitchell because they have Bam, but maybe they could work something out to where they could get a 3-team to go get another piece. You know what I mean? Like maybe, we could get Bradley Beal and Washington can get, or something. You know what I mean? Like teams start looking at, okay, well, what are our other scenarios? Because Boston just got Kevin Durant, so we need to find a way to upgrade. It elevates teams' motivation to try and acquire a guy like Donovan Mitchell and other players. And I am sure that there are other trades out there right now that have not been reported that are just because they're very likely smaller trades or not very big trades that are just waiting to see what happens because, they don't want to mess up cap flexibility, or they don't want to, mess anything up in general. They want to wait and see, okay, what is going on. Kevin Durant, especially, and a little bit Donovan Mitchell, but definitely Kevin Durant has the NBA on frozen mode. The game just crashed, and you got to reset it, and the only way to reset it is to trade Kevin Durant. I mean, there's still some quality free agents that haven't even signed with the team. And that's because no team wants to take on anything because they want to see what is going to happen. Because there's a lot of teams based on where Kevin Durant and Donovan Mitchell go that might start doing different things because they might look at it as like, well, we're already a fringe playoff team, but the Suns just got, Kevin Durant. So it's like if you're a Western Conference team, you're like, okay, like, do we actually stand a chance this year? Or should we just tank? Maybe we do take on Westbrook. Maybe Westbrook does look a little more enticing. Obviously, if the Lakers can go get Kyrie Irving, that is the ultimate goal. That is what they're waiting around for. I still think it's going to happen. I think Kyrie Irving is a matter of when, not if. But it's likely going to be wait to see what happens with Kevin Durant, which Boston seems to be the front runner. And then once they move off of Kevin Durant, I think Kyrie is gone because it just, at that point for the Nets, it makes no sense to keep Kyrie. But if Kyrie doesn't, and that doesn't happen, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the landscape, especially if Kevin Durant doesn't get traded for whatever reason. I think he does at this point. But if he doesn't, do teams stay patient in hopes that Kevin Durant doesn't go to training camp or something along those lines, or actually sits out and doesn't play? Which many people, myself included, didn't think that he would do that. But based on reports, he's not going to training camp and potentially could sit out if he doesn't get traded like he wants to. Which, I mean, if you think about it, if you're Kevin Durant, do you want to risk getting hurt, stuff like that? If you're trying to get traded to another team, teams are going to trade for you regardless. If you don't play the whole season, it's not like a team's going to say, oh, I don't want Kevin Durant now because they didn't play all year. But if he ripped his Achilles again or something, then yeah, teams might look at that as well, hey, he's got 2 Achilles injuries, leave him in Brooklyn. It just becomes it could be a big issue. It could be a big problem. So the Lakers, they have no choice but to stand pat. And I do think there's going to be more options. I mean, it didn't say the whole league is going to be trying to go after Westbrook. No, but I think there could be a team or two that comes out of the woodworks that is okay, we'll take this. We'll take Westbrook. We'll do this. Or it's part of a 3-team deal. Maybe, if Kevin Durant gets traded, a team is willing to take on Westbrook to send out some salary to the Nets and a Kyrie deal or something. I think that there will be more exploration once Kevin Durant and Donovan Mitchell are traded, because a lot of these teams are going to be in position, especially if Donovan Mitchell goes to the Knicks. The Lakers might not want the Knicks pieces, but what if another team wants Julius Randle or something like that? So maybe you could work out a 3-team deal to get more assets to go get Kyrie Irving, and now you can explore maybe a 4-team deal. It just opens the door so much, but we're all waiting on Donovan Mitchell and Kevin Durant so the Lakers can get that deal and make a trade for Kyrie or whoever else. But anyway, just wanted to give you the updates and the information. As always, that was my opinion. Love to hear yours. Let me know down in the comment section below. What do you think about this whole trade mess? Are you glad the Lakers are being patient? What other teams do you think might want Russell Westbrook? Again, not the player. I have to stress this every time I talk about Russell Westbrook getting traded, because there's always people in the comments that are nobody wants Westbrook. You're right, nobody wants Westbrook the player, but they want the $47 million contract because it's the only contract in the league that is a full board wipe. Just completely clears out everything for you. So yeah, I think teams want that. But what deals do you think are out there? What other teams do you think might come out of the woodworks to try to get Westbrook? Matter of when, not if, Westbrook gets traded. I just don't see them running it back with Westbrook this upcoming season. I have talked about how I don't think it's the worst thing in the world if they do that. I do think you don't want to make a trade just to make a trade, and it ruins your flexibility for the future, and now you're stuck. And it's a Luol Deng, Timothy Mozgov situation where you got these 2 bad contracts on guys that you shouldn't have traded for, you shouldn't have signed or whatever, and now LeBron wants to leave, you're blowing it up, and now you're terrible for the next 6 years. I don't want to see that happen. If you have to keep Westbrook, you have to keep Westbrook, but I do think there's enough deals out there where they're going to be able to move him. just because teams want his contract. It's just, what are you getting back in that return? That gives you that flexibility to maybe sign a Kyrie Irving in the offseason. But the Lakers aren't going to do anything until Kyrie is either dead in the water or, he is traded one way or another. But again, however you feel about the situation, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.